book club, we're presenting on 3 separate books today. We're going to essentially give you our SparkNotes for them. Nate's going to present on the 5 love languages. If you guys heard of or read that book before? Not a lot. Have you heard of that book before? Okay, that's a little better. The 5 love languages is usually recommended for people that are getting married, but it's actually a very good book when you take the lessons and apply them to the workplace. Kevin's going to present on the one thing, which is also kind of a must-read in my opinion for salespeople, and then I'll present on the greatest salesman in the world towards the end. So with that, obviously if you guys got a pen and paper, take some notes. So I'm going to turn it over to Nate. We're each going to go about 15 minutes. Any discussion that you guys want to have, feel free to interject and ask questions. With that, Nate, go.
Thanks, sir. Might be a little shorter than 15 minutes for me.
You can do it.
This is going to feel a lot like college, where I had to present on something I didn't actually cover. So, but I ended up passing. I got a diploma. So, there are some handouts. It looks like you're going around the room. Everybody got one. There should be 2 separate handouts. There's one. I wrote on this one.
Do you like this one?
5 love languages. Synopsis are right, those 5 points right there. Physical touch, words of affirmation, receiving gifts, quality time, and acts of service. All right. I think a lot of them probably are fairly self-explanatory, but you know, sometimes in a business setting, you might not relate them to what or how you're doing things. So that's really what I wanted to touch on today, was more of how do we relate these particular topics to what we do, right? Starting off with physical touch, in the workplace, probably not the best thing to start off with.
Do you guys have these?
Yeah, we got one.
Okay.
But there are things you can do that is not a straight up physical touch. I feel like we need Sean here, our HR representative.
He's on sick leave.
But you know, hug, handshake, pat on the back. They may not always be appropriate in the setting you're in. You may have to judge some of that. But a warm greeting, a friendly smile, comforting hand on the shoulder, you know, those are big things, right? That can help that customer feel at ease, relax. There's a lot of stress involved in particular situations, and you know, we see it all the time, right? But you know, just putting your hand on their shoulder, they may let down their guard a little bit. 93% of communication is nonverbal. I don't really know how we made it through the pandemic with everyone being on Zoom. It was really hard to read everybody's body language on that, but anyway. I've also got, there's some things you can write down there. You chime in, please. What are other examples of a way you can offer physical touch without physically touching? Rodney?
High five.
There you go. That's great. Right? Fist bump, high five, you know. Thumbs up, right? Any other ideas? Sure.
I read the book. There's oftentimes like a runner-up love language
Okay.
that like will be a close second
That
to
was
the
in
first
the
one.
Cliff Notes version?
So,
What I
you know,
read.
like somebody whose love language is physical touch and it's an inappropriate setting, you might be able to see what the runner-up is somehow,
Sure.
you know, like the next closest one.
What would be the next closest one? Are you talking about the?
Depends on the individual.
Sure, okay. No. Funny enough, there's a little quiz in it. We can determine what type of love language you exude.
Got it.
All right. Words of affirmation. Seems kind of simple, right? Great job. Way to go. What other examples might we illustrate with the words of affirmation? Here's one. you've done a beautiful job remodeling your home. Gosh, the bathroom was fantastic. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you for your feedback. It was very beneficial, even though they may have told you they want to list high, wasn't following your advice, right? There are ways we can work in words of affirmation. Who else has some examples of that? Does anybody use like words of affirmation quite a bit in their presentation or their consultation?
Maybe you can use words of affirmation by helping them clarify stuff that's normal, right? Like, hey, this feels really tough right now, but just, it's pretty normal.
Absolutely, yeah, that helps them, again, through that tough situation, or you might see the stress on their body and you say, hey, this is completely normal. We're supposed to get a home inspection request with a bunch of items on it. That's part of the deal, right? You let them know that. Great. Any other examples?
I think the words of affirmation really instills confidence, especially in sellers. Might be a little nervous, like Phoebe talks about when you walk in. It's like, we are going to sell this house. You've done an excellent job getting it ready for the market. Like complimenting them up front, which is real, right? I think that a lot of times get offers
Sure.
encouraging.
Validate their decision, right? Hey, you're making a great choice.
There is a buyer for this home.
There's a buyer for this home, this market is great, we're gonna get top dollar, all of those things. And it doesn't always have to be a word spoken, it can be a word written. Handwritten notes, text messages. All of those types of communications can be effective when, in a transaction, especially if you're using that words of affirmation. Hey, great job. So, all right. Acts of service. This love language is about taking action to help others, either by doing something for them or making their lives easier. In a business setting, you can use acts of service by offering additional services or amenities to clients, or going above and beyond in your customer service efforts. What might be a good example of that? Looks like you have something to say, huh?
Closing gifts.
Closing gift? Yeah. That's probably more in line with receiving gifts.
We had an agent yesterday go to a house and had to she got there early and had to help them move stuff around to get it ready.
Right. That is prime example right there. You can also, if you know they've got children and they've got to coordinate kids and maybe a babysitter. Maybe if it's a stressful situation, maybe send them out for a spa day or getting their nails done or something along those lines. Those are examples of an act of service. You can get involved with their kids' lives. If the kids got to play and you want to support them, go to the play. Right? Really adding to the family dynamic there. Now you're a part of their family, right? All right, moving along. Receiving gifts. Jacob, closing gift, right? What was your last closing gift?
What was it? It was dog toys and some random stuff for the house.
Yeah.
Some drinks.
Drinks. What about the hooks?
She's obsessed with books.
Well, man, Jacob paid attention to his customer. She was fixated on hooks. Whenever they went out to view homes, she would really notice and say, God, look at those hooks. So he picked up on that. He got her a bunch of hooks for her closing gift, and she loved it.
Where do you have
Impressive amount of hooks.
Where do you have the right one? You just get a bunch of wrong hooks.
There are 11 different kinds of hooks. Key hooks,
Like
toe hooks,
coat?
garage hooks, vacuum hooks.
But he actually put some thought into it, right?
Sure said sharp cookies, man.
Oh, wow. You know, like a variety pack. It's like a
He
heck of a
showed her
variety.
some love and appreciation by paying attention to her, right? I mean, that's the general concept there. It doesn't have to be something that, she can hang in the house. It could be getting the gutters clean. It could be, getting the lawn mowed, winterizing the home, pop buys, big one, right? Those are,
Moving days, send a pizza or drop by with, house cleaning, kit
Great
or
idea.
something like
Yeah,
that.
send them a pizza. I know it's been a rough day, so, or a very hectic day. Here, take a load off, have some slice. Good, all right. Quality time. Should be fairly self-explanatory, but
Breaking bread.
breaking bread's great. How about undivided attention?
Yeah.
Let's put the phone away, put the computer away. Let's, sit down face to face with them and give them your undivided attention. Regular check-ins. Hey, you're gonna hear from me every week. Every Friday morning, I'm gonna call you, just to say hi. Even if there's nothing going on, I'm gonna check in. Give them that sense of comfort. Any other examples of quality time?
One of my clients lost her spouse, and so of course I sent her like a plant to the house, and then a few weeks later I came by, I told her I was coming by, visited with her, and brought her a little globe with like praying hands and had a message on it, snow globe, and it played music, and
Nice.
she really thought that was sweet and just spent some time with her. And
There you go.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's a great, she really paid attention. Set time too, didn't just show up. Because sometimes it does require you to make an appointment or let them know you're coming by. So that's nice. Thank you. Any other?
I'd say, just touching on, getting undivided attention. I try to always set expectations with clients of, hey, when I'm with you, you're getting me, my phone's gonna be in my pocket. I just ask you to respect that on the back end. When I'm with somebody else, my phone's gonna be in my pocket. So I may not be able to get back to you right away, but I'm gonna give you my full undivided attention anytime I'm with you.
That's great. All right. As you can see, the book touches on a lot of things that are emotionally charged, and in most cases you typically want to take the emotion out of the business setting, but here we can see that there are times where it's okay and might be needed in certain circumstances. So
That's awesome. Guys, there's the 5 love languages the actual 5 love languages is really good for leadership and when you get to know people, but keep in mind that as a realtor and as a salesperson, you are a leader in that relationship. Whether you're working with a couple, a single buyer, whoever it is, you're the one that's leading and guiding them through the situation, but it's not about what you want. Like if your love language, it's pretty obvious probably what your love language is, right? Whether it's in the workplace or at home. Like you can probably figure that out. And the quiz is actually pretty cool to fill out if you guys get a set. But it's not about what you want. It's about what your clients want or what your teammates want. And what I found, and even though this is one of the most difficult ones for me, in order to figure that out, you kind of have to start with quality time. You have to, even if you don't like the quality time, you have to be, and this is my biggest weakness, you have to be disciplined enough to actually spend quality time with someone to figure out what their love language is, right? Like you probably have clients you've given pop-bys to that they just do not give crap about, right? But maybe they would really appreciate if you spent some time with them over a cup of coffee. Or they would really appreciate it if you helped them out on their move or whatever it is, right? But quality time I believe, is always gonna precede the rest. But whether you're talking about leading a team or leading your client, it's all the same. It's not about what you want, it's about what they want. And you being able to respond and be good in that fashion, for sure.
great, very succinct. Thank you for that.
Plot buys.
That is, receiving gifts would be a pop by, quality time might be a plot by.
Speaking of quality time, we're about up on time. So I'll move to Kevin and the one thing.
Excuse me, I'm using the podium, Professor.
Go for it.
All right, this is the One Thing, book. Gary Keller, does anybody know who Gary Keller is? Keller Williams. Writing, he was one of the guys who, didn't Keller Williams kind of give up money in the big lawsuit? Yeah, so pretty much this guy made so much money doing one thing that he had 70 million or billion laying around to fork up. So it works, and a lot of this just really focuses down and boils down to focusing on the one big overall arching thing. It's kind of, what is your why? What's your big why on all this? Starts off, if you chase 2 rabbits,
you won't catch either one. So it's really gotta focus in on what are you actually chasing, and then everything else really doesn't matter. If you're trying to go 1,000 different directions, nothing's ever going to happen. You gotta kind of stay in your lane, and we wanna try to get top of our fields, whatever we're doing. So, on this, it talks about when diving into one thing wholly, you get extraordinary results. How small can you make your focus? We want to have kind of a big overall arching theme, and then what can we do kind of each day to start attacking that? Use the analogy of dominoes. You want to attack that one domino until it falls over. Once that one domino falls over, you're on to the next thing, which is a little bit bigger, a little bit better. You keep on attacking that, and next you know, you're at something a little bit bigger, a little bit better. You keep on going and going and going, and then you look back and you're like, damn, I've knocked over some big ass dominoes. And that's really what you want to get after there. Also, no one in here is self-made. So it all takes people, it takes an army. We have kind of mentioned our, on the RLT, we try to build an army of people that do good, become better, and strive to do the best. On that, I said, I can't do that on my own. It takes people. It takes an army of people to help push each other and get you and helping you achieve your goals. And kind of, what is your one thing, what are you going to attack till you conquer? If you're, in real estate wise, are you going to be the open house guy? Are you going to be the plot buy guy, the plot buy guy? If we're doing kind of 1,000 different things, or we're scattered all over the place, you're probably not doing any of them really well. So, I know, Hayden does a great job. I think every weekend he does an open house. Every single weekend. And that's benefited him a lot. And obviously he's able to mix a few other things in there too, but he spends a lot of time on that a lot of people aren't willing to go do. So, but to be able to jump in there and really focus in and dive in, that's been really successful for him. Other people, it's, just pop by. How many people can you go see? How many times you get face to face? Other people, it's phone calls. Can I go make 100 phone calls a week on something? But what is your one thing going to be, and how are you going to attack it? And making sure you have time to attack it. So we want to have time blocks. Carve out what's the most important thing to me, what's going to help me achieve my goals, and that is what we're focusing a majority of our time on. 80-20 rule applies to a lot of this sort of stuff too. 20% of your effort produces 80% of your results. So what happens if you take, instead of 20% of your time, we carve out 50% of our time to attack our results. We're going to get better results if we spend more time focusing on that 20% that gets you most of your results. Yes, so kind of diving into what is actually making you productive, what is worth your time. So if we're scattered all over the place, you get nothing done. Cut out the fluff, productive over busy. This guy doesn't even allow us to say busy. It's like a big no-no word. I'd say more curse words, and not allowed to say busy is the biggest curse word in our office. Busy, to us means you're out of control. You got so much stuff going on that you're getting nothing done. You're so scattered all over the place. We want to be productive. All right, we want to have time carved out to get exactly what we need to get done. Doing the most important thing is the most important thing. That was kind of neat. But yes, focusing on what is actually truly important. Yeah, thank you, Zen. Got all that stuff. Got the little rake and the sand and everything. Keep helping. We feel like we have to do everything. You don't have to do everything. You can't do everything. So if you're doing everything, then you're also doing nothing. You're not doing anything well. So I said really diving into that. You guys can tell for one thing, pretty simple concept. We really want to do just dive into it. Let's see here. What else do I have? Success is about doing the right thing. So that kind of comes down to the integrity portion of stuff too. So if you're doing the right thing, that's probably a good thing for you to do. If you're doing bad things, you probably get bad results, and that's pretty self-explanatory there. Willpower fades. Start off, this is to me why the morning is so important. When you wake up and you get out of bed each day, you want to attack each day. I was reading another book this week talking about you hit the snooze button, you're just delaying your life. But that was kind of a good broad thing, but when you look at it, it's kind of like I'm hitting snooze on, you only get so many hours in the day, you're hitting snooze and snooze and snooze again, you're just putting off. So make sure you get out of bed, and I said, as willpower fades throughout the day, you need to kind of recharge the batteries. That's why you're kind of most productive, and you kind of go in spurts. Talk a lot about the rest-run cycle in here. And also, like kind of diets tend to go to die at night. You've made so many decisions, making willpower choices throughout the day. Then you get tired, and you're like, I will have that piece of cake, and I'm guilty of that from time to time. Let's see, yeah, the morning, balance, rest, run. We also want to go to kind of extremes a little bit. We talk about, work-life balance, so to say. That wasn't really a thing up until kind of the mid-90s. We started seeing actual stuff come out about that. It's because a lot of people used to have someone at work, someone's at home. They focus wholly on work, and then someone else focuses solely on home, raise a family, things like that. As everyone's kind of come into the workplace, everyone wants that balance. Well, if you can't wholly focus on something, you're divided, so we're chasing those two rabbits. We want to be able to keep our, you still want to do life, but you want to also go to extremes on work. If you need to really, really dial in and commit yourself to something, go and commit yourself to something. You may sacrifice a little to the back end, and then you'll kind of be able to have some time to take back off once you see some of those results come through. They had a great analogy in here that this is all kind of like you're juggling 5 balls, and the 5 balls being work, family, health, friends, and integrity. If you drop, you want to pretend like all these balls are glass. The one that's going to bounce is going to be more the rubber ball is work. You don't want to sacrifice your family. You don't want to sacrifice your health, friends, and integrity. Those are the most important things. Work can come and go. We don't want to spend our entire lives working, and then you're a year away from retirement, and then no one wants to get cancer or anything like that. But people spend their entire lives working. They don't sit back and enjoy anything. They lose track of the family, health, friends, and integrity, and they focus kind of solely on work. We want to make sure we do give ourselves some rest during all that as well. And also, we want to really dive into it. We want to go to the extremes. We want to see how far we can push ourselves to work, and then you can kind of take a little break, and you will bounce back with work. Dreaming big, big actions, big results. Don't sell yourself short. There's a lot of really successful realtors out there. There's nothing saying that, you sitting here today can't be a successful realtor that's, making all sorts of, bukus and money. It's kind of how hard you want to work for that. And if you, shoot high, shoot for the moon, land amongst stars. Is one of the phrases I've heard over the years. Stars can be a good place to be. Also, the belief is this is where I am supposed to be right now, doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's just kind of a mindset. You want to know that, hey, I am meant here to be a realtor. I'm giving my whole, kind of undivided attention to getting that done and serving my clients, serving my people in order so I can go do X. And so then kind of finding what the X is, that's kind of your why. Why are you working this hard to go provide for family? You want to take a trip, whatever that may be. But yes, a big picture, small focus on that. Let's see here. There's a great Les Brown quote that wasn't part of this book, but just kind of through reading it, just kind of kept on coming back. If you do what is hard, life will be easy. If you do what is easy, life will be hard. So it's kind of one of those deals there where it says the more kind of work you put in, life's never going to be easy. But there's also things you can do that makes life simpler. And simplifying all this stuff and telling what your big overall why and bring everything back to that. We want to create habits. Everything seems really difficult kind of on front, but once you create the habit, then it becomes easy. So creating and starting the habit is very difficult. It's painstaking. You got to have dedication to it. Once you kind of hit, I think on here it's like the 66-day mark of doing something, then the habit becomes second nature. Now it's not hard anymore. It's something you do. So kind of creating good habits, stacking those habits. There's a great book by James Clear. Atomic Habits. He actually came up with an app this week too to help track a bunch of stuff. So I was down and started playing around with that, but I can't figure out technology, so I'm still working on it. On here too, you want to have one thing for multiple things. What's the one thing that's going to help your finances get better? What's the one thing that's going to help your business get better? Your job, family, relationships, physical health, spiritual. It's okay to have more than one thing. You just got to kind of put those in separate little different buckets, and you got to work on attacking those. Let's see. What's the one thing you can do today that'll help you achieve whatever your big goal is? So really dialing in. There's a chart in here too, talking from what's your maybe one day sort of goal. That could be 20 years in the future. All right, well, it's my 5. If I want to be at that goal in 20 years, what do I need to be at in 5 years? Where I need to be at in a year? Where I need to be at in a month, week, day, hour, right now. All right, so prioritizing all that stuff. A lot comes down to time blocking and having that big overall focus. Other little reminders too. I mean, make sure you have reminders in front of you. I have a little Post-it note in my mirror that I look at every day when I'm, brushing my teeth, just a little reminder, affirmations, things like that, to make sure that you're focusing and keeping that stuff in front of your face. Ask yourself great questions. What can I do to double sales? The better questions you ask, the better answers you tend to get to. So, what can you do to double sales? Sit down and actually think about that. If what you're doing right now, are you spending 20% of your time and they're getting 80% of the results? Maybe we need to double or triple down on whatever that may be. Also, ask great questions to others. Find people who are mentors, who are experienced. They may be able to help you skip a few chapters in a book by not making the same mistakes that they did. So be able to learn from them, and they can usually share some wealth and knowledge with you and kind of help pull you up the ladder. I mean, here at Hometown, it is kind of, reach back, pull somebody else up. That can, like I said, help them really get that trajectory where you're kind of going and get that exponential growth. But, reach out to people. Then live with purpose. Purpose sets our priorities. Priorities determine our productivity. Actions lead to productivity, and then that kind of leads you to your big why on there. Where we want to go to determines what we need to do. Okay, so if you want to go somewhere, I always try to make it down to very binary. Is this helping me or hurting me? Yes or no. The answer is, if it's hurting me, then I probably shouldn't do it. May need to reset and recalibrate and kind of refocus what I need to be doing. Happiness happens along the way too. So this is a journey. It's it's a path on here too. But discovering that big why, kind of getting better and being happy each day. That's something that you got to work on and implement over time. That starts with habits. I know when I walk into our office, there's a big mirror at the top of the hallway, and there is a smile. It says smile, and it's a picture of a hand. You smile into the mirror, and you give it a high five every day, and that's when you walk into the office. Something little like that. I get a lot. I can be kind of negative Nancy at times, and but that does really help out. Putting that smile on, it does change. I think it's Mel Robbins does a 5-second rule. That was one of kind of her things, and there's studies and stuff like that tell you that does work, and I feel it at times too. So
he really does it. I'm not kidding. You'll walk through the hallway and Kevin will high five himself.
You need to put a Ring camera up.
Yeah, he
Keep him
passed
accountable.
it, didn't high five it today. I was very disappointed. And that was at what was that, 5:15 this morning we got to the office. Dude, that's kind of going to the extremes on things, and so that's what maybe separates us from some other people, and that is willing to get in there and put in the work. Not saying that everyone's got to get in at 5 o'clock, but if you need to go get more stuff done, find the time, dedication, and kind of go to those extremes in order to make that stuff happen. Let's see here. Goal setting is huge during all this too. So having kind of your goals and breaking them down, having written them out in front of you makes a gigantic difference. Successful people are productive people. The more productive you are, if you have things planned out, you got to know what you're doing tomorrow, today. Having a plan and be able to go attack it. If you're sitting there kind of twiddling your thumbs, wondering what am I going to do, probably don't have your big why, don't have your overall overarching goal to chase after. Take some time to think about that. If you don't have that, sit down and journal a little bit. This is an exercise my coach had me do a couple weeks ago. It just kind of brings a lot of stuff. And just kind of take the time to sit and think and write and journal and just kind of put your thoughts down on paper. There's always 1,000 things going on in our heads. Putting pen to paper makes you kind of focus in on what's important, what makes sense. Does that really matter to me? Do I really care about that, or should I be? This is what I really care about. Make sure you write that down. Go back and look at it from time to time too. So one of the exercises this morning we did was taking a look at our 2024 goals, which we wrote in kind of November, December time period, and kind of relooking at those. I pulled my stack out, something I didn't do a very good job of last year. If I had about 2023 goals, they got, I wrote them down and they got thrown in a drawer, and then I was like, I don't remember what my goals are, didn't know what I was chasing after. So be able to go back and reflect and look at that stuff, keep it in front of your face, helps out a ton. Earn it each day. This is kind of a Buffini thing as well, about being a house painter. Can you put your name on that? Did you put a good day in at work? You got to be honest and truthful with yourselves on all this as well. If you half-assed it, then realize you half-assed it, and come back tomorrow and be better and make up for that difference there. Let's see. Mastery is a path, not a destination. Like I said, something you work on each day, step by step. It's not like you just arrive at your destination. You got to travel there. That is a path. Also talking about entrepreneurial is kind of how this all starts out, and then it becomes more purposeful to further along, in this you get. So you kind of start off kind of figuring out what you like, what you want to do, how you want to get there, and then, kind of as you figure that stuff out, then you start attacking it with purpose. It's kind of that next level. We got to be accountable to ourselves. We're not victims on all this stuff. So you need to kind of look yourself in the mirror. Is that, your fault, or am I where you're at today because of the actions you took, or is it somebody else's fault? To me, there's a Jocko book, Discipline Equals Freedom, on that too. Talking about, there was a chapter in the book too, it's like you don't have to be the most disciplined person in the world, but once you have habits, and discipline's kind of just a byproduct of what you do each day. Some of the kind of time suckers / hiccups, speed bumps you want to try to avoid. Saying yes to everything, you got to be able to say no. If your priorities are in line, you got to be able to say no to things that get in the way of your priorities. Also, the fear of chaos. What happens if this, that's all meant to just go attack what you're trying to go do. You'll be able to take it on in stride. Poor health habits, you start getting out of routines. I think it's always great to get some sort of workout in every single day and get your body moving. That makes you feel better, helps you sleep better, helps you perform better on kind of all walks of life. And then just poor environments. We want to surround ourselves with people who are pushing you, making you better. If you get around people who are Debbie Downers, time suckers, complainers, those are people we want to try to avoid. You want to be able to put a do not disturb sign on your door and shut it and block out the noise and focus on whatever you need to get done. And yeah, that's all I have. Nick, what you got?
Well, question, what is your one thing in work on a day-to-day basis? Like, what do you go in and say, okay, I gotta get this done today?
Something I've always kind of refocused on right now, it's phone calls and just simplifying, and lead generation is, kind of my, 2 words for the year: simplify and generate. So for me, that looks like, obviously, in the office fairly early, not in there 5 o'clock every single day, it's just Wednesdays. But kind of that morning from 9 to 12, it's, do not disturb, door kind of shut, and I'm ripping phone calls. I'm reaching out to people. I kind of have each day, Mondays, pipeline. Tuesdays I usually call like past clients, people I haven't talked to in too long, so going back out, reaching back out to them, reintroducing myself. Wednesdays for me is market updates, which is to the kind of all my prospective sellers, checking in, taking a look at what's happened over the past week, shooting them an email. I'm also going through the hot sheets on Wednesday. I'm looking at all the houses that hit the market in the last 7 days. I'm seeing what's popped up where. If I have someone who I did it last week where people who are living or houses popped up in Bell Creek. I have 3 past clients live in Bell Creek. I shot them those houses, said, hey, this one just popped up in your neighborhood. Have you seen it yet? Can you believe that the prices are at $450 when you bought yours at $375 2 years ago? Isn't that great? Do you have any friends or family that are thinking about making a move into Bell Creek? Who do you want to be your neighbor? I also just straight up lied to a past client, told them I had people looking to buy a townhouse in neighborhoods. I don't, but yeah. Well, I'm trying to generate leads too. Generate for that. Yeah, but I just told him, hey, I got people looking for a town. He lived in. I sold his townhouse in there a couple of years ago. And I said, hey, as people actually looking, I may have somebody looking, or some of the team's got someone looking, so I'll be able to figure it out. We're all doing pretty good. So we can listen to one. But I said, hey, I got someone looking in your neighborhood. Hey, do you know any neighbors that may sell, or do you introduce me to any people that used to live there? I got the names and contact info for 2 of his former neighbors. They're not interested in selling, but those people I just called, wrote notes to, followed up with, and now they know that I'm kind of on the lookout. And they've been in their houses for I think 13 years, so they may not be going anywhere. But hey, what if one of your neighbors may be going anywhere soon? And then I think it was today we had a pipeline meeting, and Mara's got someone looking wants a townhouse in Bell Creek. So maybe I just afraid of that. Yeah. So
To answer your question, 9 to 12 prospecting.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that's.
Yes.
Simplify and generate, I like that.
Yeah.
That makes it fairly easy to digest, right?
Yeah.
I need to go generate a lead. How do I do that?
Yeah. So for me, that's phone calls. Other people may be going out and do Popeyes or go preview properties, whatever it may be. But just kind of have something you're chasing after each day, and spend a big chunk of your time doing it. Reflect on your business and see what gets you your business. All right, Ben's up. Anybody got questions? Alright. Sorry to give out a note sheet of paper, you guys write all the stuff down.
I'll pass those that way. Guys, with the one thing, if any of you guys were here for the annual advantage class we did towards the end of last year, at the end we established the one thing, and everybody that I work with on my team and I do some leadership work with, they also have the one thing. And a lot of times, this can be one word, a sentence, a quote, something like that, that just kind of guides you through the rest of the year. To kind of to put a conclusion on the one thing, and Kevin mentioned the word busy, which I do absolutely despise. It is important to understand that you can't do it all. Like, it's important to understand that we all do have limitations, but I think we can all agree that we can do better, right? You can't do it all, but you can do better. And a lot of times when you do better, that leads to more. It leads to more relationships, it leads to more sales, it leads to more money. So remember, when you focus on one singular thing, in Kevin's case, 9 to 12 everyday prospecting, that is being better at one thing that can lead to many more things, despite knowing that we can't do it all. So I hope you guys take that Kevin's words with you and helps you out a little bit. I'm going to talk about the greatest salesman in the world. Who here has heard of it or read The Greatest Salesman in the World? Awesome. So you guys are familiar. This is fantastic. I gave you guys the 10 scrolls, and I'm going to go through these one by one, but a quick little background on this book. I personally first heard about it from a Buffini seminar, and it is 111 pages. You can literally read it in one sitting, even though the author suggests that you read it differently, and I'll get to that. It was written in 1968 by Og Mandino, who lived from 1923 to 1996, and his books have sold over 50 million copies. One of the reasons that I love, even though this is, he uses, you've heard of Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill and the Bible are both huge inspirations of Og Mandino's, and so you'll hear a lot of that in his writings, but he's one of the authors who's actually been there, done that, and he was still doing it when he wrote it. He worked at an insurance company, I believe. An insurance company quickly set sales records after following the ways of his manager that he really looked up to. Okay, kind of a quick summary of this book. It really highlights the importance of persistence and self-confidence in achieving success. It tells a story of a guy, Jeff, I knew you were reading this. It tells a story of Hafid.
I remember the names, yeah.
That's the main character. It's a poor camel boy who goes on to achieves great things. He starts the book with a very negative attitude, saying that he looks himself in the mirror and he says that only the eyes have retained their youth. That's kind of how the book starts. He's kind of down in the dumps. And then his boss, Pathros, is that Pathros maybe? He agrees to help him out, kind of bring him along a little journey. And Hafid thanks him. He falls to his knees and grasps Pathros' robe and says, "Sire, sire, how can I say the words to show my thanks?" And then his boss freed himself from the grip and he said, "I would suggest you withhold your thanks for the present. Whatever aid I give you will be as a grain of sand compared to the mountains you must move for yourself." You'll hear this repeated often in this book, and it's a lot about action and doing things now. We can talk about a lot of these ideas that we have, but until we actually take action on these things, none of it's going to work. So I would encourage you guys to remember this, even just from today. Whatever aid I give you will be as a grain of sand compared to the mountains you must move for yourself. All right? In my opinion, this is a book of a ton of affirmations, which is awesome. So you guys have the affirmations in front of you, right? These are the 10 scrolls he comes across. And what I would love it, if you guys can participate with me, I'm going to pull a dean here. I would like you guys to read these aloud with me. For the first one, even though it's 2 sentences, we're just going to start with the first sentences. The first sentence. So it says, "Today I begin a new life." So on 3, we're all going to say it together. 1, 2, 3. Today I begin a new life. In this chapter, he says, "Today my old skin has become as dust. I will walk tall among men, and they will know me not. For today I am a new man with a new life." In this book is when he also describes how he suggests you read this book. There's 10 total scrolls. He suggests that you read the first one every single day for 30 days. As a matter of fact, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Then you go to the second scroll. Read it for 30 days. Jeff's actually in the middle of doing it now. He said he's only through the second scroll because it's still February, which is awesome. I plan on doing that after this, to be honest with you. It's going to be fantastic. When he talks about beginning a new life, this chapter, and Kevin mentioned this, is about habits. I will form good habits and become their slave. Okay? The second one, on 3. 1, 2, 3. I will greet this day with love in my heart. I will make love my greatest weapon, and none on whom I call can defend against its force. Sorry to give you guys a very quick history biblical lesson here, but originally the Bible was written in Greek, and the word love was written agape. But it's not love as a noun. It's not love as a feeling. It's love as a verb. It's an action, right? We talk about the 5 love languages, right? That's what agape literally translates to, is love as a verb. Okay? Number 3, we're going to do this together. On 3, 1, 2, 3. I will persist until I succeed. Who's heard the phrase, patience is a virtue? I guess I can buy that a little bit, but I say that persistence is a guarantee. Patience is a virtue, but persistence is a guarantee. This really reminds me, and I drew a little thing for you guys on the side there. This is from a book by that little charts from a guy named Bob Rotella, who talks about what he calls learned effectiveness, the virtuous circle. Talks about optimism, the confidence, the persistence, the success. But you'll see on there, there's no real starting point. So it's kind of a fun, I think it's kind of a fun group discussion. We won't go into this now on where does it start? Does it start with optimism, confidence, persistence, or success? When I have this discussion with people, the biggest takeaway I always have from it is almost no one says success is first, which is fantastic. It shouldn't be. Success is a result. It's a byproduct of these other things. There's all sorts of ways to increase your optimism, right? Your confidence. I say that it starts with persistence, because that is the one thing that I have complete control over. You're way more likely to act yourself into a feeling than feel yourself into action. Does that make sense? You're way more likely to act yourself into a good feeling than feel yourself into action. This is I will persist until I succeed. This chapter closes with, very confidently, I will persist, I will win. Number 4, all together. 1, 2, 3. I am nature's greatest miracle. All men are my brothers, yet I am different from each. I am a unique creature. I read this thing a couple of weeks ago. It's pretty awesome. It's a really simple recipe for achieving greatness. And they said that you are to figure out what you're naturally good at, your unique strengths. Figure out what you're naturally good at. Then, outwork the competition. That's it. Figure out what you're naturally good at, and then outwork the competition. I think this is one of the coolest aspects of leading any kind of group or team, is figuring out what people's strengths are and then putting them in positions to win there. Like, who doesn't like being good at stuff? We all have unique strengths, right? Figure out what you're naturally good at and then outwork the competition. You are nature's greatest miracle. Number 5, all together. 1, 2, 3. I will live this day as if it is my last. The author says, can I become younger than yesterday? Can I take back the evil that was spoken, the blows that were struck, the pain that was cursed, that was caused? No. Yesterday is buried forever, and I will think of it no more. If I waste today, I destroy the last page of my life. If I waste today, I will destroy the last page of my life. This is my favorite quote in the entire book. I will avoid with fury the killers of time. Procrastination I will destroy with action. Doubt I will bury under faith. Fear I will dismember with confidence. Kevin mentioned Jocko earlier. In that book, Jocko talks about his default setting in life is aggressive. And that's probably not surprising for any Jocko. He's a Navy SEAL, right? But substitute the word aggressive with proactive. Default, proactive. Default, act. Default, go. At the conclusion of this chapter, the author writes, and if it is not my last day, I shall fall to my knees and give thanks. Next page, the scroll marks 6. Everybody's there, we're going to do this together. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Today I will master my emotions. I said that wrong, I'm sorry. I'll be master of my emotions. And how will I master these emotions so that each day will be productive? For unless my mood is right, the day will be a failure. Think about that. Unless my mood is right, the day will be a failure. Anybody ever read Energy Bus, John Gordon? Okay. He says that if you feel good, everybody else around you tends to feel good. If I felt like shit coming in here, I'd probably think you guys felt like shit. Right? But if I feel good, you're probably going to feel pretty good. You can feel that from me. Ever since I started in real estate, I made the decision the attitude was going to be everything. Always, all the time. That was always the number one thing. For the companies that I work with, attitude, always number one thing. Here are some affirmations within this chapter that I love about mastering your emotions. If I feel, notice the word feel in all of these. If I feel depressed, I will sing. If I feel sad, I will laugh. If I feel ill, I will double my labor. If I feel fear, I will plunge ahead. If I feel inferior, I will wear new garments. If I feel uncertain, I will raise my voice. If I feel poverty, I will think of wealth to come. If I feel incompetent, I will remember past success. If I feel insignificant, I will remember my goals. Today, I will master my emotions. Remember, we are much more likely to act ourselves into a feeling than we are feeling ourselves into action. Persistence. We can control that. Number 7, all together, on 3. 1, 2, 3. I will laugh at the world. No living creature can laugh except man. Trees may bleed when they are wounded, and beasts in the field will cry in pain and hunger, yet only I have the gift of laughter, and it is mine to use whenever I choose. Henceforth, I will cultivate the habit of laughter. To enjoy success, I must have the habit of laughter, and laughter will be the maiden who serves me. I will be happy. I will be successful. I will be the greatest salesman the world has ever known. Done this exercise a couple of times in the past few months with a couple of teams who talk about this whole idea of love being a verb and how we show that to each other, right? So imagine that you're in a client meeting, a team meeting, whatever it is, and there's a camera up in the corner, and the camera's filming you. There's no audio. You can't hear anything. You can't hear what you're actually saying to each other. You can watch people interacting. How do you know the conversation's going well? Smiles, high fives, hugs. You can see someone laughing. You have control over this. I will laugh at the world. The scroll marked 8. Y'all ready on 3? 1, 2, 3. Today I will multiply my value 100-fold. Second favorite quote. Only a worm is free from the worry of stumbling. I am not a worm. I am not a sheep. Let others build a cave with their clay. I will build a castle with mine. I will commit not the terrible crime of aiming too low. I will always let my reach exceed my grasp. I will never be content with my performance in the market. I will always raise my goals as soon as they are attained. I will always strive to make the next hour better than this one. I will always announce my goals to the world. In a sense, that's what Kevin was referring to this morning when we got together this morning as a team, announcing our goals to each other. But he does say, yet, never will I proclaim my accomplishments. Let the world instead approach me with praise, and may I have the wisdom to receive it in humility. The scroll mark 9, all together. 1, 2, 3. I will act now. My dreams are worthless. My plans are dust. My goals are impossible. All are of no value unless they are followed by action. I will act now. Third favorite quote. Never has there been a map, however carefully executed, to detail of scale, which carries its owner even 1 inch of ground. Action is the food and drink which will nourish success. Give you guys roadmap to anything you want. But unless you actually put it in drive and go, it doesn't really matter. This is the time. This is the place. I am the man, I will act now. For now is all I have. Tomorrow is the day reserved for the labor of the lazy. Again, this whole idea of action, this is the main message of the entire book. In this chapter, I read this, just kind of a quick Google search, kind of some fun facts about this book. In this chapter, the phrase, I will act now, is written 18 times. This chapter is like 2.5 pages. 18 times. Do it now. Last page. Okay? If you're not a prayer guy or gal, I am, so I'm going to say it, and if you'd like to stay with me, that'd be great. On 3. 1, 2, 3. I will pray for guidance. You have taught the lion and the eagle how to hunt and prosper with teeth and claw. Teach me how to hunt with words and prosper with love, so that I may be a lion among men and an eagle in the marketplace. Justin on our team, he sent me this really cool thing a couple years ago. Something that his dad failed me for. It was talking about being a duck or an eagle, right? Ducks quack and complain, and eagles soar above the crowd, right? That reminded me of this. Here's my challenge to you guys. Extremely, extremely short book. This is it. It's 111 pages. Again, you can read it in one, literally you can read this on a Saturday morning. It is not a difficult read. It's pretty interesting read too, and the scrolls are pretty motivational. After you read it once, or if you want to do it the first time, do what Jeff's doing. Read it as it instructs. After I'm finished with my book, hopefully got a couple more days left and I'm done with that one. I'm gonna take that challenge. I'm gonna do it with you. I'll check in with you on it.
What are you
Sounds awesome.
reading now? What are you reading now?
The Bill Belichick biography. It's like 500 pages. It's awesome, but I'm getting a little worn out towards the end. Any questions for any of us guys? Thank y'all for being here. I hope this was helpful today.